Sup amigos, it's Tello, back to you in another video for today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's been lingering on my mind lately, but we have been doing a lot of variety, so check out the Twitch if you want to see some different style gameplay besides WoW, but regardless of that, much love to you. But yeah, there has been things coming across the mind lately, and I've been thinking about it, and I've been watching very slowly how Blizzard is making their moves. I know a lot of hype right now is, hoping for the next big thing for WoW, which is obviously Classic Plus. That's something a lot of creators have been talking about. Of course, there is things going on with retail, obviously, to the future of those expansions. And then what's going on currently in the Classic era scene with Anniversary, but also Mists of Pandaria. And that's something I want to talk about in particular, is something about MoP and also about what they did if you even look from Classic to SOD. Changes that we never saw, things that we would never imagine they would do for a Classic era game and keeping us in that world of Azeroth when they gave us Season of Discovery. But then we look at MoP now, and it's the same thing that's going on, but just changing the way that classes are balanced. And that's something that has never happened in MoP, where when the major patch ended, I believe it was 5.4 during the Siege of Orgrimmar, that was the final major patch for that game. There was no other balance changes. Like, you had a class that sucked, it sucked through that entire expansion. You had a class that was good, it was somewhat viable. You had a class that was really broken, people knew that class was broken. And this happens with every expansion, every version of World of Warcraft. But for them to go into MoP and have a PTR up, actually balance out some classes, try to elevate some specs that were just not good at all, and make them somewhat viable, it leads me to wonder whether this was a good or bad thing, because a part of me feels like it is a good thing because it shakes up the meta that once existed all those years ago, and classes that were once, on top are no longer only the top classes there. Besides Warlocks, it seems like they are sucking off Warlocks, which I'll be playing one for sure, but they are sucking off Warlocks completely, and they might be the king DPS in, Mists of Pandaria. But besides that, I really feel like that they are doing things differently because they want to involve the Season of Discovery players who currently are, at a loss of what to do. Not a lot of them wants to go to Anniversary. Not a lot of them wants to go to retail, so they want to find that middle ground. Obviously, MoP seems to be the answer, and they're trying to involve the SOD players to feel somewhat happy with their classes coming into Mists of Pandaria. So I think, in a way, SOD has affected Blizzard's thought processing on how they should handle this new player base coming into Mists of Pandaria, so they can enjoy their classes and feel like that, that the classes they played in SOD, they could still play that same spec or class within MoP and have some type of fun with it. But that's not always the case for everything, because obviously some other classes got, hit with some nerfs, right? And I'm very curious to see your guys' opinion, whether you think this was a good or bad decision on Blizzard's part, whether you like to see that the meta is kind of getting shifted a little bit and not everything is going to be easily discoverable, on a tier list video or like some type of VOD that is just going to tell you this class is broken, this is the class to play with. But instead, you're going to have to go in there and you're going to have to parse. You're going to have to, play your class to a full performance and see where your class stands now after the changes and see if more classes are more middle of the pack, lower the pack, or just completely leading the pack by miles, right? And that's what I'm very curious to see, because I really think that with the class balancing, a lot more specs that were not traditionally within, Mists of Pandaria, when you even look at the logs here, a lot of these numbers are going to get shaken up with a lot of these changes. And also the interactions these classes might even have in arena mode in PvP. So I really think that MoP is doing something in a way that I feel like personally is cool, is just balancing something that everybody thought they knew. You have all that old years and years of knowledge, and now it finally, creates a challenge for the player to rediscover, and retest and seek out new metas. And this will be something, even if you think about it like this point of view, will be a conversation people will have in the future when they compare versions of patches from old MoP to new MoP. And they will say, well, which version did we like better? How did they approach the game? Specific class from the new wave of MoP compared to the old wave of MoP players. There's going to be conversations about that. And I think this is also going to lead to the next thing that I want to talk about. Is it only going to be for MoP? Because I have a feeling they're going to go to WoD. I have a feeling they're going to go to Legion. And people called me crazy. You know, people were saying to me that, oh, Blizzard's not doing this type of, psyop where they're trying to lead players back to retail. And you look at what they're doing now, and I'm telling you right now, Blizzard's ultimate plan is to get everybody on retail. When it comes to making money, I mean, that is the ultimate key, is making bank. Let's think about a business first. So we can't be, living under a rock or a tree in that case. Why would you not want majority of your community to come to retail where they're making the most money? And I can't hate them for, being a business. That's what they're doing. Of course, it makes sense. And literally, it does make sense. It's making the money. But besides that, I truthfully believe that they're going to milk all the quote-unquote classics, what your classic was, from WoD to Legion, because Legion was one of the most popular expansions, right, of all time. And for a lot of people, one of the last good expansions for, the retail style player base going into the future of the next expansions after that. So I really feel like that there is a very interesting dilemma going on right now when it comes to them changing up MoP and them changing up future expansions after that to really spice up the game, to finally give players a different alternative look at things that they didn't get to experience the first time, or maybe even rectify mistakes that they made the first time with other expansions that they just really wish they executed the mark faster on, or even speed up the process of some of these expansions. So I genuinely feel like that is something that they have in the cards right now, because this is the perfect opportunity for Blizzard to rewrite their history, to change up things that once didn't work out at a certain point, and this is like their new chapter ahead of them. It's like they already had a layout. We can call that first original layout chapter 1, but for this new layout for chapter 2, with them re-releasing classic eras and stuff like that and calling it classic, right? Well, your whatever version you're playing is your classic at the time. That's their new slogan. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're straight up going to do that for every single thing after MoP as well. The stuff that they did there, they're going to recreate it, and they're going to retweak it, re-edit it, and this is like this new alternate timeline of classic era for World of Warcraft players, so they can experience something different that was really changed from the past into the perceivable future. So I have a strong belief that's going to happen. Now, the next topic I want to talk about here is quote unquote what's going to really happen with the future of Classic Plus, and is it going to be announced at BlizzCon or not. I really want to dive more into this in a whole nother video so I can give you an actual full educated opinion on it, and I don't just wing it here. But I will say this, I really do feel like that Classic Plus, if it does happen, I don't think it's going to be perfect off the rip, but I also don't think it's going to get announced right away. There are some buddies of mine that believe that it's going to get announced relatively sooner than later. I don't believe it personally. I think they need more time to quote-unquote cook, as they were saying in their messaging, and I think it's something that's not going to be prepared and perfected right off the rip. This is something that needs to be discussed, and more talks have to happen with the community on what they want to see more players having. And if they like, what they did with Mists of Pandaria as an example, if they like those type of class balances, changes, more classes tighter together than separated apart, but there's a good graph to go by, and bring that type of replication into Classic Plus, do players like that? Do they like traditional Classic settings where one class or two classes are ahead by, miles of the pack compared to others? That's these type of lines of questioning, and why it ties into correlation with also the Mists of Pandaria talk that we're talking about, because it's very important to find whether we're going to find this balance through some form of discussion, some form of PTR testing, or some form of another version of the game are we going to play, because SOD was that version of testing for potential Classic Plus. Some players even call it was Classic Plus for some people. Like, some people genuinely believe that, and that is a rumor I've heard in the community as well. But I really feel like that there has to be some other type of testing before that C Plus happens. And I'm a firm believer, at least for now, and obviously speculation, okay? Like, we're talking straight up out our ass. We're not going to fucking bullshit here with you. But I'm just telling you, just from the truth, like, right from the horse's mouth, I really feel like that when that BlizzCon happens in 2026, I think we're gonna get a teaser, but I don't think they're gonna release the game. I'd be very shocked, and I hope I'm wrong because I want to get proven wrong. I'm not here to fucking, say, oh, I'm right all the time. Like, please prove me wrong, and I would love to see what they have in store. But to say that Classic Plus is gonna come out off the rip, I just don't think that's gonna happen. And I've had a debate about this with Jerome. Me and Jerome were talking about this the other night. And shout out to No Hit Jerome, much love to him. But I don't know, man. I just don't know if it's gonna come out, dude. I really feel like that they need way more time, and maybe if they do release it, it's just gonna be in this like very not low effort but not polished finished state. And we might have to talk about this in a whole separate video. Like I said, there's much more discussion. Maybe even me and Jerome, I can talk to him and like have some type of debate, and we can go over it if you guys want to see that, and have like a debate on Twitch or something like that. Because I just feel like there is just something in the air with Blizzard right now, and I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like we're in store for either something special or something that's going to be a complete letdown. And maybe they'll learn some, lessons from SOD. Maybe they'll learn some lessons with Mists of Pandaria, especially with all the balance tweaking that they're doing. But I don't know, man. I'm at not a wit's end, but I'm at a very crossroad, I would say, right now, where I don't know what's really going on under the hood with Blizzard. I don't think a lot of us creators really know right now. We're just going with the motions, just like you guys. And I'm just, playing games, figuring shit out, and seeing where the hell, this baby's gonna go. But that's all I gotta say. Pretty much, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you guys think the mop balance changing is cool? Do you think Blizzard will learn from any of these things? From SOD players to mop players to future classic era players for this new timeline that it seems like they're going by now. And will all this be, influence for Classic Plus come the future? Let me know in the comments below. Much love to you and all that good stuff. I'm choking on my saliva right now. I need 3 wings and a fat lady. So much love to you, and yeah, lock it in. I'll see you in the next one. I want the Popeye snack wrap. I heard it fucks. Give me 14 of them. I'll put them right in my...